Month 7 of HRT. Look at how the time flies. We're halfway, more than halfway through our year of HRT. And yes, you are in this with me. If you haven't started the HRT, congrats. You're 7 months in. I've adopted you into my body. You are one of the many cells that forms this personhood. You're welcome. I have steadied up on 6 milligrams of estradiol and 1 milligram of finasteride. I think this is what I'm going to stick with. My estrogen levels are pretty much maxed out, so I think where we're at is sort of just where we're at. Truly could not afford to pay more, which is another topic I'll get into in another video, because transitioning is expensive. Being trans is pricey. We will talk about this later when I feel like I can actually adequately provide you with useful information, because I myself am struggling. But while internally I've sort of got myself figured out now, I've decided that if gender is a painting on a canvas, my gender orientation is the paint on a palette. While I've got that figured out, and while this month has been boring in terms of that, externally I went to my first Pride Parade and it was lovely as an outdoor occurrence can be in the July Florida heat. But yeah, I'm also not much of a parade person. I would really only do parades for Pride, and even then, it's muggy, it's hot, and I think we left early. My take on parades and floats is similar to my take on fireworks, in that once you've seen 5 or 6, you've basically seen them all, but it helps if you know that they're gay. It was nice to see so many gay people in one spot. In my head, I thought there was going to be a lot more socialization, but it turns out when you put a bunch of neurodivergent queer people together, you kind of just keep to yourself. I spoke to a lot of shop vendors, I spoke to lots of people, and we complimented each other's outfits and makeup, and that was lovely, but I didn't really come away making any friends. But I did solidify the friendships I already had with my queer friends. After the parade, we ate dinner, and then we went to this party? It was a warehouse with no ventilation and one open rectangle. As in to say, no windows, only a front entrance that was always closed. But all in all, I had a lovely time with my friends. But I had another interesting interaction with a customer the other day. Not as bad as the transphobe I made a video about, but still interesting. I gave this guy a bit more leeway because he is a regular, but I learned my lesson. This time when he said, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" I was like, "No." And he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend." And I was like, "Nah, it's fine. I actually know you. Go ahead. I know what you're going to ask, but go ahead." I was a bit more femme. I was wearing a crop top and then like Kim Possible slacks. And he was like, "Do you feel like," and he was giving me like the blink if you're in trouble eyes. "Do you feel like you're forced to do this?" No, if anything, I feel like I derive lots of joy from it, but it feels like it's a struggle to justify my decisions most of the time. Tampa people, surprisingly cool, but like every so often the person walks in and you're just like, the energy in this room would be a lot better if I just dressed like a cis dude, but I'm going to choose not to. He was like, "How long have you felt this way?" And I basically gave him the spiel that I gave in my coming out video. And he was like, "Listen, I just want to make sure like you're not harming anyone, and whatever everyone does that makes them happy is fine." I was like, "Yeah, saying everything right so far." But he was like, "It just feels like people are being forced to do stuff. You know, it feels like we're grooming our kids." And I was like, "Let me stop you right there. What do you think grooming means?" And I kid you not, the man looked me in the eye, in these balls and these little orbs and these spherical things with holes in them, and he said, "I don't know." Well, I can tell you one thing, it does not mean what you think it means. And I could get into a whole thing about how conservatives weaponize the incompetence of linguistic artistry, how conservatives purposely alter the true meaning of words in order to diminish the severity of said words in order to lessen the impact that the left has when engaging in rhetoric. We could get into a whole thing, but we didn't talk about that. Mostly he was like, "It's being shoved in your face now, all of this stuff." I don't think he ever like used a term. I think he just said stuff or alluded to a noun of some sort. Well, I mean, if you're saying all of this stuff is pressuring me, there's an equal amount, if not more, very straight cis stuff, that would have pressured me even more. There's so many more movies with straight cisgender people in them. There's so many more celebrities who are straight and cisgender, that if pressure exists externally, then I wouldn't be dressing like this. And he was like, I just feels like I see it everywhere in movies and they're just like forcing it on us. And I was like, well, what are you? I fucked up. I hate getting asked what are you, but I was like, are you Latino? He was like, no, I'm Filipino. Well, listen, like imagine you finally get your one mainstream American movie with a Filipino lead. You know, the same crowd that's talking about all this forcing stuff on us will be like, oh, they're forcing Filipinos on us. All it really is you got your one guy. At the end of the day, you are watching Fox News and Fox News is forcing this on you. At the end of the day, like you're watching the news channel that's like, check this out, check out what we have to watch, and then they're showing it to you. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B basically scissored at the MTV Awards. I only know that not because I watched the MTV Awards, but because you're freaking out about it. So relax. But it ended better, mostly because this guy's a regular, and just give regulars a bit more leeway than I would a complete stranger. I just think it's funny that Henry Mente, these guys just don't know what they're talking about. If you want to see more of me, check out my Instagram and Patreon. If you want me to see more of you, stalk me and then hop out in front of me and be like, ah.